extraterrestrial hybrids. It's the pharaohs of Egypt, according to strange research, and you're going to see the actual evidence of DNA gene sequencing and also the density of bone. And this is taken from research done on DNA and bone of Pharaoh Akenaten related to Tutankhamun. Now, we know that we've had a lot of ancient texts talking about gods from the skies, from the heavens, the overlords of Egypt, according to the Tully Papyrus. The one of the pharaohs that actually observed them, sighted them, had encounters with them, landing on the Giza pyramids, over the Giza pyramids, saying they are our overlords. So these extraterrestrial hybrids, pharaohs, according to the strange research, the new genetic study shows that a genealogy of Egyptian pharaohs was voluntarily genetically engineered by a technologically advanced civilization. Some would call it definitive proof that the builders of the pyramids had a strong connection to beings coming from elsewhere in the universe. Others, however, deny all this, arguing that none of the following is true and that they are just another conspiracy theory that distorts and some real research. As with all these oddities, it's up to the reader to decide. Now, according to Locklip and according to the study, Stuart Fleischmann, assistant professor of comparative genomics at Cairo Swiss University, and his team have published the results of a 7-year study that mapped the genes of 9 pharaohs. And if it turns out to be true and not buried information, their findings could potentially change the history books of the world. According to this study, Stuart Fleischmann, assistant professor of comparative genomics at Swiss University Cairo, and his team have submitted valuable samples of ancient DNA in a procedure called polymerase chain reaction, PCR. It's a PCR test where we take, for the recent pandemic. So in the field of molecular biology, this technique is often used to reproduce and amplify a simple copy of a piece of DNA, given a clear picture of one's genetic fingerprint. The result is 8 of the 9 samples seemed interesting, but typical. However, the 9th specimen, that belonging to Pharaoh Akenaten, the enigmatic pharaoh of the 14th century BC, and Tutankhamun's father, King Tut's father, was remarkable. A small piece of dehydrated brain tissue became the source of the DNA sample, and the test was repeated using bone tissue, and the results obtained were the same. One of the perpetrators, quote unquote, was a gene called CXPAC5. It's responsible for the development of the cortex. The anomaly is visible in the images having to do with this gene. So here on the right part, we have the predominance of the CXPAC5 gene in a normal human. That's on the right side. And on the left, we have a DNA sample from Akenaten. Now, the increased activity in his genome seems to indicate that Akenaten had a higher cranial capacity due to the need to house a larger cortex. So that's maybe why they had such elongated skulls. But what kind of mutation caused a human brain to develop? So far, we have not noticed anything similar despite our years in genetics. Could this 3,300-year-old specimen of Akenaten indicate some ancient genetic manipulation? Was it the work of some advanced extraterrestrial beings? Is the mythology concerning ancient Egypt more than the collection of allegorical tales? Professor Fleischmann explains, telomerase is a genetic enzyme, is consumed by only 2 processes, extreme aging and extreme mutation. Genetic and technological data showed that Amenhotep IV, Akhenaten, lived for about 45 years. This is not enough to consume the entire telomerase chromosome. This leaves us with an annoying but possible explanation. This explanation or hypothesis is also supported by the fact that electron microscopy analysis reveals signs of nucleotide scars, which reveal signs of DNA helix healing after exposure to potent mutagens. So does this show that Akenaten, one of the most mysterious pharaohs of ancient Egypt, underwent genetic modification during his lifetime? If nothing else, this claim supports the theory that ancient aliens extraterrestrials visited at least once the civilization that lived on the banks of the Nile here in Egypt. Another interesting piece of evidence provides additional support in this case. The image shows the two microscopic images of the bone tissue of the sample from Akenaten's skull and the sample of a different mummy of the same age. And this is the image that we have here. So could the bone tissue on the left is much denser and radically different than a nanoscopic scale on a nanoscopic scale. Now, could this increase in the strength of the skull bones be an indicator of increased brain development? Fleischman told reporters, "This is a fascinating finding, to say the least. My team and I have submitted the papers for evaluation by peer scientists, and we have done repeated tests several times to make sure that they are accurate. So if this study is correct, it will cause an unprecedented change. If aliens were actively involved in the lives of the most powerful people thousands of years ago, imagine what is happening today, parenthesis, then does that mean they will return? Maybe again, they never left at all. But the most important aspect of the existence of is the existence of humans who are direct descendants of royal descent from ancient Egypt, who still possesses the foreign genes in their blood, and which people were implanted with the genomes of their ancestors." And I've translated this for you from a Greek article. This is fascinating because it has to do with the research given to us, PCR tests, DNAs of Akenaten and normal humans, and of course the increased density of Akenaten's skull. Please leave your comments, and thank you for your support. Support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.